While Washington wrestles with impeachment, Vice President Mike Pence here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, he came to talk about jobs and replacing NAFTA, but he really couldn't escape the controversy that is happening in the nation's capital. News 8's Richard Essex is covering the vice president.
Though it's not an official campaign stop, it certainly didn't feel like one. Vice President Pence spent the majority of his time talking about trade, jobs, and briefly mentioned the impeachment inquiry in Washington.
Vice President Pence came back home to talk jobs and trade, but he couldn't sidestep the elephant in the room, the impeachment inquiry.
And the truth is, while we're watching our nation's capital even today, we see many Democrats who spent the last 2.5 years on baseless accusations, and they keep trying to overturn the will of the American people in the last presidential election. I'm here to make you a promise. Whatever the Democrats and their allies want to spend their time on, President Donald Trump and I are going to stay focused on the issues that matter most to you.
While the vice president was attempting to sell the economic benefits of the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, Pence was interrupted by one protester. She stood on her chair with her back to the vice president, holding two signs. The picture of Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old Swedish climate change activist. The unidentified protester was booed from the facility.
Let me say it again. This economy is working for every American.
Selling the president's trade agreement may be tough in the current political climate in Washington, but he had no trouble selling it in Indianapolis.
We saw the highest optimism ever among manufacturers all across this country. And instead of losing 200,000 manufacturing jobs, 500,000 manufacturing jobs have come roaring back.
Before heading back to Washington on Friday, the vice president will be hosting a mental health roundtable. On the southeast side, Richard Essex, Wish TV, News 8.